This episode of Logan Chopped Reviews is sponsored in part by Ion Games. It's in our nature. The Giveaway Geek. Hey everybody, Logan here with another preview for you. This time it's for Monster Mania by Meet Me at the Table Games. It's a game for 1 to 6 players and where you take on the role of monsters trying to rampage a city. Now in this video we're going to show you the multiplayer roles, but this game does play solo and there's also co-op rules for playing in teams and trying to beat the other teams. So we'll have a link to the solo rules in the description, and you can check it out. It's Monster Mania. So the first thing we're going to show you is the player mat. There's 6 of these that are included with the game, and just remember that everything you see in the video is a prototype that was sent to us. Nothing is final to the end of the Kickstarter. So this is the player mat. You've got your spot. You can have up to 3 monsters attacking at once because this is your combat zone right here, like it says, combat zone. This is your support slots where you can play your support cards. This is where you collect your attack points. This is your rubble pile for your discards. And then you've got your spot for your prize points right here. And there's 5 different spots because you usually play till you defeat 5 monsters. You can get prize points, which are these little tokens with stars right here. You can get prize points whenever you defeat an opponent's monster, or if you end up killing off one of your own monsters, every one of your opponents will earn 1 prize point. So you got to kind of be careful because some environmental cards can actually not only injure your opponent's monsters, but can end up injuring your monsters also. So there's a bunch of different tokens. Like I said, those are the prize point tokens. You have attack points right here. They're shown by these little blue circles right here. You can, earn attack points to use for your monster's attacks. The prize points have little stars on them like that. There are turn reference points because some of your support cards will have countdown because they take effect for so many turns. So there's different turn points. We'll go ahead and throw those down there on the support right there. And then you have damage tokens, which have the red targeting, and they're in different denominations. You got like 5, 10. This one's 30. And they'll do damage to the monsters. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the cards in the game. First, every player will have a little instruction card right there, and it shows your actions you can do on your turn, and it has a little turn order down there. So the objective, like I said before, is the first to 5 prize points wins. You're awarded a prize point when you defeat a monster, or of course, if you end up defeating your own monster, each opponent gets a prize point. Your turn order is really simple. You draw from the deck until you have 5 cards in your hand, and at the end of your turn you can't have more than 10 cards in your hand because some cards will allow you to draw cards from a shared deck that's in the middle of the table. Now, if you already have 5 cards at the beginning of your turn in your hand, you get to draw 1 card from the deck, so you will end up having 6 at the beginning of your turn. Then you perform any number of actions you'd like. Then you discard at the end of your turn from your hand any cards that you don't want, or you can just discard none at all. You keep everything that's in your hand, and then you end your turn and play passes to the left, going clockwise. The different actions on your turn you can do is that you can play basically any card you want to. You can play monsters if you have a space available in your combat zone. You can play environmental cards. They can only be played if you have a monster in your combat zone. You can play and activate support cards, because when you play support cards, you can either play them face down in your 3 slots, or you can play them face up and activate them right away. So you get to choose. Or you can play counter cards. Counter cards are what you'll play either on your turn or on an opponent's turn to counter an attack. And there's no limit to the amount of counters that can be played on an opponent's turn. Or you can attack with your monsters. So we'll set that out right there. So let's go ahead and take a look at the monsters. Now all the monsters have little punny names and little cute drawings on them. Like this one right here is a behemoth. You see right there, and it's got the little red symbol up here showing that it's a monster. Oh, it should be noted that on the back of your instruction card is all the icons for the card. You can see the red up top there shows that it's a monster. And that's a monster icon right there on the top of the card. And it's got the title, Behemoth, and then it has how much health it has right there in the middle. You can see the Behemoth has 50 health. You deal 50 damage to it, it dies. And then it has its list of attacks down the bottom, how much it costs in attack points, and how much damage that it does. You can see like the headbutt costs 2, and it does a certain amount of damage. How much damage does that do? 10 damage over there. It costs 3 to do the lift-off attack, and it does 15 damage, and it costs 4 attack points to do the Light of Desire, which will do 30 damage to an opponent. And then it's got a little flavor text on the bottom. What's the behemoth say? It said, an enormous moth released from a subterranean vault. It has a voracious appetite and is now hunting anything that breathes. Give you a little closer look at the behemoth right there. Just show you another monster. They got the giant. It's another example of a monster right there. It's got 65 health. Yeah, 65 health. And you'll see me taking on a couple of these during the solo video, so make sure you check that out. I'm going to be doing the exterminator objective in the solo guide, and then me and Gothy will just be playing head to head in our multiplayer game. Now, to get to the other kinds of cards that you've got counter cards. You can see it's got the little purple counter symbol up there. And the counters do different things. This one is leaping to environmentals. So this is when an opponent would attack a monster in your combat zone, evade that attack from that opponent's monster, then search the deck for an environmental and add it to your hand. So that's good. Whenever you evade an attack, it still uses the attack points, but the attack does not happen. So your monster does not take any damage. So that's a little example. And then whenever you use anything is done, it goes to your rubble pile for discards like that. Speaking of environmental cards, this one's called Ferris Wheel. Nice little picture right there of him picking up a Ferris wheel. So discard this card to deal 15 damage to an opponent's monster. Or discard this card to gain 2 attack points. And environmental cards are the main way that you generate attack points, and you keep them right there in the little attack point spot, and then you'll spend them to do attacks with your monsters. So you discard this. Oh, I got 2 attack points. Here we go. 2 right there. And then I can spend that 2 to go ahead and do the headbutt by the behemoth for 10 damage to my opponent. The last kind of card you have is a support card. You can see it's the little upturned hand symbol right there with a plus on it. This one is called a Killer Pillar. You can tell he's lifting up a pillar to try to hit something with it. So once activated, deal 30 extra damage for 1 attack, then discard your hand, minimum of 1 card. So when you play these, you can play support cards face down in your support row and save them. You don't have to activate them right now, but you can only play up to 3. You can only have 3 in play at one time. So, and how they work, some of them are continuous. This one isn't. Is okay, on my turn, I'm going to turn it upright. I'm going to go ahead and activate it. I can, since it's activated, I can deal 30 damage for 1 attack. So, let's say I spend 1 attack point, and I got 1 left. To deal 30 damage to something, and then I have to discard my hand, minimum of 1 card. So I have to discard my whole hand into the rubble pile. I have to have a minimum of 1 card to be able to do that. But since this is fully done, this would get discarded into the rubble pile, and then I would have that spot open to play another support card, either face down or face up. Some of them stay in there and they use their turn tokens like that, the countdown. Okay, it comes back to my turn, 1 more turn comes back, and it has an ongoing effect. The last thing I want to show you before we get to the gameplay is the rule book right here. This is a nice rule book. It's laid out with all the contents and the rules, just like a normal rule book, tells you how to play everything. But in the back of the rule book are the solo objectives. You see, get that without the light glare on it. Solo objectives. It tells you how to set up for a solo game, which is slightly different from a regular game. And then they have the little objectives over here for when you're playing. Since you're playing yourself, against an AI, basically, it has the little objectives you have over here, like pest control. It said you have to defeat Tarantula, Behemoth, and the Giant with 1 monster of your choosing. Now, I'm going to do it because this one, the Exterminator part of it, says, win pest control, this objective, with Humongous. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be playing Humongous as my monster, trying to defeat those 3 monsters right there and get the exterminator achievement objective done. But there's a lot of different ones in here, 2 pages. But then also they've got the co-op mode back here. It shows you where you can play as teams working together to defeat the other teams. And then all the way in the back of the book, they got other different game variants of how you could play the game. And the very last thing here is Monstrous Challenges. It tells you different things you can do to do any different challenges. Like here, Resourceful said win 2 to 6 player match and end with plus 10 attack points. So you got 10 attack points in your pool. Or the what was that, Nail Biter, win a 2 to 6 player match by only a 1 prize point difference. So it's got some different different objectives, different monstrous challenges in the back right there, and then this full color picture. That's awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the gameplay. All right, we got everything set out for Monster Mania. 2 players, me and Gothy over here. I'm over here. Gothy's over there. Yay! We got our token set up. We've got our the deck of cards over here. You can only partially see because we got it split into 3 decks because we're gonna have to shuffle, and the deck of cards is pretty big. But when you start out a multiplayer game, what you do is you take 1 of each monster, and there's 18 different monsters in the game. So 1 of each one out of the deck and shuffle them up. And starting with the first player, which will be me, we pass out 1 monster to each player. And they're going to put it on their board face up in one of the combat spots. So I'll get 1, and then Gothy will get 1. And then the rest of these monsters are shuffled into the deck to join the other monsters and other cards. So let's go ahead and split these between these 3 decks, and then me and Gothy will commence shuffling while we're talking. I'll put my monster. Looks like I've got a bear maximum to start out with 80 health and a couple of good attacks.
And I have venomous.
Down there you go.
Not
right
good
there.
with the camera stuff.
Not good with the camera stuff. Okay. So while we're shuffling stuff, basically how it goes is that we're both going to draw 5 cards each at the beginning of the game. And then we will start. Now, on your turn, if you have 5 cards in your hand, you will draw up to 5 cards in your hand. If you already have 5 cards in your hand at the beginning of your turn, you draw 1 card. Now, the first player at the beginning of the game does not get to draw a card, even though they have 5 cards in their hand. They don't get to draw. And during the first turn of the game, going all the way around the table, nobody can deal any damage to another player's monsters. And if you happen to play an environmental card that deals damage, supposed to get like some attack points and stuff like that, and it does damage to your own monsters will take damage. But you cannot damage your opponent's monsters. I'm going to split this deck in 2 and shuffle part of these. You go ahead and grab half from one of those. Alright, and we'll show you how that plays when we start. Now, we're playing till somebody gets 5 prize points. Of course, we'll only play a couple of turns to show you the gameplay, not the whole thing.
This one and that one?
Sure, why not? Go ahead and shuffle that one and that one. And after I'm done shuffling these, I'm going to put them on the bottom. This is a really big deck. We don't really have to leave room for a discard pile because we've got our own separate rubble piles on our player boards. So you're starting out with the Venomous. It's got 50 life. Yeah. Okay, mine's got 80. So,
what?
Boom. What?
80?
Yeah, mine's got 80. Sorry. Yeah.
Kind of convenient.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
Mr. Dealer.
Go ahead and slap those on top there, and then I'm going to grab 5 cards. You can grab 5 cards, and we'll get this game started for these nice viewers at home. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4,
what if they're not at home?
5. There, they could be at work. They could be anywhere. Now, as I said during the card explanation, monsters can be played at any time you've got a free space in your combat zone on your turn. Environmental cards can only be played if you have a monster in one of your combat zones. And support cards are either played face down if you want to save them for another turn, or face up in your support slots. But if you have full support slots, you cannot play a support card. And then counters are basically played on the opponent's turn. Sometimes you can play them on your turn, because some of them say like when you or an opponent would attack monsters. So, okay, so starting out at the beginning of the game, I've got my 5 cards. I start out, but I do not draw. and we cannot damage until the beginning of my second turn. Then I can start dealing some damage. So let me see what I have real quick. All right, I'm going to put a Killipede into play right there. It's got 40 health and some damage, so now I've got 2 monsters in play. I'm going to play... yeah, I'm going to play this support card face down right there. And then I am going to, it's a good example right here, I'm going to play a blazing building right there. It gives me a choice. I can either discard it for 10 damage to an opponent's monster, or discard it to gain 3 attack points. I have to choose one of my monsters to take 10 damage. So, I can't do the one where I damage hers, obviously, because we can't do damage the first turn of the game. But I'm going to discard it to get those 3 attack points. So I am ready for stuff for next turn. So my attack points right there. And then I have to deal 10 damage to my monster, which can take damage. I'm going to do it on the bare maximum, because it has 80 health. So it is able to take a little bit of damage here at the beginning of the game. And then these other 2 cards I'm gonna go ahead and hold in my hand. And then I will pass play. I'm not going to discard anything at the end of my turn. So I'm going to pass play. Can you not see my combat zone? Here, I'll move the deck down a little bit like that so you can see the monsters in my combat zone. And it's still on screen.
Okay.
All right, so
I get to draw.
You do get to draw. So I have like 6 cards in your hand.
I'm going to play a giant.
Giant. Awesome.
65 life. And humongous.
Ooh. So now you got 3 monsters in there with a variety of attacks.
I'm going to discard Oil Truck to get 2 attack points.
Oh, it's an environmental card?
Yes.
All right. To get 2 attack points. And do your guys take any damage or anything after that? Nope. All right. Anything else?
I have stuff, but then they're going to deal damage.
Well, then you can't do it. Hey.
And I can't do anything.
All right. Okay. So Gothi's turn. And now it's my turn. So now we're able to attack. I got 2 cards. So let me draw up 3 to refill my hand. So let's see exactly what I have going on here. Oh, that's actually pretty nice. Okay, we're going to play Rocket Launch right there. Rocket Launch. Rocket Launch says discard to deal 30 damage to an opponent's monster, or discard to gain 4 attack points. I have to choose one of my monsters. It takes 20 damage. So I am actually... You got any counters or anything? You're going to counter it?
I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, right. I'm going to get myself 4 attack points. So 4 attack points. And one of my guys has to take 20 damage. I'm going to also put that again on the bare maximum. So now he has 30 damage on him. He's only got 50 health. I'm going to play this card, Batter Up. It's a support card. I'm going to play it face up, so it's activated right now. So once activated, deal an extra 5 damage to an opponent's monster for 3 of your attacks. You choose the attacks. Okay. So let's see. 3 of my attacks. Let's see what you've got out there. Oh. So it's going to deal an extra 5 damage for 3 of my attacks. Okay, so let's use 3 attack points to do the Killipede Stampede attack, which does 35 damage. Let's go ahead and put that on your giant right there. So that's going to be 40 damage total because there's an extra 5, so that's the first attack. So 40 damage. It's got, what, 25 left?
I got it.
Got it.
Sorry.
And then we'll go ahead and use the Killipede's It's got 25 life test. Yeah, the Killipede's impede attack costs 2 attack points, so I'll trade that in. The 4 in for 2. To do 20 damage plus the 5 from the batter up to the giant, killing it off. Okay, that was my second attack. And then I get to get a prize point since I killed off her monster. Right there. That's 1 prize point. Let's see, I have 2 attack points left. Yeah. Let's go ahead and use another 2. Do another impede attack for 20 plus 5, so 25 on your humongous. Humongous right there. Yes. Okay, and then my turn is going to be done. This batters up goes to the rubble pile right there. And Gothy is deciding exactly what she should do. She's got a handful of cards. Probably a bunch of attacks or counterattacks. She's got 2 attack points over there to try to kill me off real quick.
Okay, I'm gonna play an environmental card called the SS Colossus. It says discard this card. I'm just tongue tied all over it.
Yep, discard this card.
And 1 other from the hand to deal 10 damage to an opponent's monster, or discard this card to gain 1 attack point. So I'm going to do the first one.
Okay, so 10 damage?
So I'll discard that and this.
Okay. You doing it to bear maximum or Killipeed?
Bear maximum.
So 10 damage to bear maximum?
Yes.
Alright. Okay, he's got 40 damage. Oh, I put too many tokens on him.
That's fine.
Nope, it is not fine. 40 damage on him. He's got 40 life left.
And I'm also going to play Airplane, which is another environmental card. Discard this card to deal 25 damage to an opponent's monster, or discard it to gain 4 attack points. Choose 1 of my monsters, and it takes 15 damage.
Okay.
I'm actually going to take the attack points.
Okay, and then 1 of your monsters will take 25 damage, or 15 damage, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you get 4 attack points, so you got a total of 6 now. Which monster is taking 15 damage?
Venom S.
Venom S.
Okay, and then what is your bear maximum at?
He's at 40 health.
Okay. So I'm gonna pay 3.
Okay.
To do Venom S's Slither Slash for 20.
For 20?
On Bear Maximum.
20 on Bear Maximum. Okay. I'm going to play Dodgeball. It is a counter. When an opponent would attack a monster in your combat zone, evade that attack from that opponent's monster, then discard 1 card from your hand and gain 2 attack points. So yeah, I'm going to evade the attack and discard this card right here to gain 2 attack points. So my monster will not take that damage. He evaded it.
Okay. So I'm also going to pay 3 for Humongous's Deadly Sin for 20 points of damage to Bear Maximum.
To Bear Maximum? Okay. And then I'm going to play another counter called Evasion. There's a handful of counters over here. I swear I'm not a blue magic player, I swear. So Evasion, that's when an opponent would attack a monster in your combat zone, evade the attack from that opponent's monster. So no damage.
Good job.
Good job. Are you done?
There was something in here.
Alright, she's looking through her rubble pile. Are you naming it Barney? I'm going to name mine Barney. If anybody at home gets that joke,
Go.
make sure you comment below. Alright, so beginning my turn, I draw 5 cards. 3, 4, and 5. And your hand size can be a maximum of 10 cards, just to let everybody at home know. Ooh, looks like I hit a monster pocket. We're going to play a Maya Titan right there in the monster spot. And I'm going to go ahead and play this face up. It's a support card, Suburb House. Yeah, a Suburb House, not Suburb. Suburb House. So once activated, heal 1 monster in any combat zone by 5 health. So I'm going to use that to heal Bear Maximum by 5 health. So he will only have 35 damage on him. Okay. I only have 2 attack points. Let's go ahead and use my 2 attack points. Let's have Killipede do his Impede for 20 damage over on your Humongous. I feel a counter coming. No?
What?
20. Okay, so only 5 more damage to kill that guy off. Go ahead and take 1 more turn, and then let's go ahead and wrap this up and get to the review. So that's the end of my turn. Do I want? I'm gonna actually discard. I'm going to discard 1 card at the end of my turn, because you can discard at the end of your turn to have less cards in your hand for the beginning of your next turn. So I'll have 2.
Play Radiation.
Ooh.
Activated, heal 1 monster in my combat zone for 10 points.
10 points. Awesome. So now your Venom S only has 5 points of damage on it.
I'm going to do it again.
It doesn't say only 1 can be played per turn? Okay.
No, I'm going to do it on this guy, though.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it. Alright, to end the Gothy's turn. So, obviously, we've only got 1 monster that's been killed so far, but a bunch of stuff on the board. You play back and forth like this, killing off each other's monsters until somebody has 5 prize points. Now, so I got a prize point whenever I killed off Gothy's monster. But now, if I had done something that did environmental damage to my creatures, or if Gothy had done something to deal environmental damage to her creatures, equal enough to kill off our own creature, all the opponents get a prize point. So, like, if I would have ended up killing off, let's say, my Bear Maximum by, dealing damage to it with an environmental, trying to kill off one of Gothy's things, everybody else would have got a prize point for me killing off Bear Maximum, except for me, obviously, because it was my monster. So let's go ahead and get to the review. As you can see, Monster Mania by Meet Me at the Table Games is, it's a great game. It's pretty strategic. Just to let you know, Gothy ended up winning. The monsters are great. The illustrations are great. Different damage you can do. Really, really easy to understand. Really, really simple card mechanics to play out. It's a great game all around. So go ahead and check it out on Kickstarter. It'll be there December 1st. I'm Logan for Logan Chops Reviews Previews, and we'll see you next time. Happy gaming.